listening to IBNX. IBNXradio.com.
Welcome to the word of mine, where our thoughts ring out and our ideas shine. From the underground to the corporate highs, the ugly streets and celestial skies. Our perspectives flirt and intertwine, planting seeds to
saw the way she looked me in my eyes. She said, baby, I am not afraid to die. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge. Phantom, that's alright. Inside all white, like something you ride a sled down. I just want that head. I'm really her man, I'm really her man now. Everybody got the same sweat now. One way that I chat now. Stacking my bands all the way to the top, all the way to my back falling no. Every time that you leave your spot, your girlfriend call me like, come on, no. I like the way that she treat me, gon' leave you, won't leave me. I call it that Casanova. She say I'm insane, I might blow my brain out. Hey, Johnny on the brain out. Please, Johnny, make it go away. I'm committed, not addicted, but it keep controlling me. I don't pain, I can feel it. I swear that it's slowing me. Yeah, I don't really care if you cry. On the way, you should never lie. Saw the way she looked me in my eyes. She said I am not afraid to die. Yeah, all my friends are dead. Put me to the edge. Yeah, all my friends are dead. Yeah, put me to the edge. All my friends are dead. Yeah, all my friends are dead. Yeah. Daddy, not your swag, I swear you fake on. Y'all ain't nigga wanna take my kid on. Red on, I just don't red on. Yo, mess on, look, nigga, test on. Fast car, nice car, rest on. In the car, they got no ones that we move back on. Clothes from overseas, got them racks and they all seen. No, to you it's not a cheat. Looking at your stacking of your money, it all green though. I was counting that I used all 20, that's a G, bro. She said, you're the worst, you're the worst. I cannot die bigger, this my universe. I don't really care if you cry. I don't really shouldn't ever lie. Should've saw the way she looked me in my eyes. She said, baby, I am not afraid to die. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge, all my friends are dead. Push me to the edge.
All right, and we're back.
We are.
So just to remind y'all, if you watching, make sure you watching on live. You can catch us on M Love's Personal Live and Live Life in the Purples Live. Where else?
Word of Mine live.
Word of Mine is we're live.
Are we?
And,
Hold on, let me go live.
You will see that we're in the presence of online radio gods or goddesses.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah. She tried to be humble, but we know what it is. We know what it is. 3 years strong, people. Going on 4? Is it 4? Did we hit 4?
3 years this year.
3 years this year.
2018 to before.
There we go. So we're gonna go on and start it off now. Just in case y'all forgot, you know, this we supposed to be doing our little Secret Santa thing. Well, ain't no secret because it's just us two, but at least I thought it was. See the eyes live. Do you see the eyes? Because I already knew she was gonna forget and not think. This is why I was a little late coming in.
It was a Secret Santa. We were supposed. Don't do that. We were supposed to get each other gifts.
You better watch back on the show. Watch back last week. Oh, matter of fact, we probably didn't. We said it off air.
See? Oh, you ain't got no proof to prove.
Oh, I got proof. I said it on air too.
Oh, have mercy.
But that's okay. I got my cuz something.
You did?
Something special.
That is so sweet. What is it? Can I have it now, or do I have to wait for
You
it?
don't have to wait till the next, till the inside.
Okay.
And I get it for you.
Oh my goodness, the anticipation is going to kill me. How would I make it through the first segment? Damn, why? You should have told me. You should have just waited till like later and be like, "Ooh, I got you something."
Because then you be really on
You
the
want to
spot
make
and
me
be
feel
looking like.
guilty for not having you something because you snuck in a Secret Santa on me.
And see,
But that ain't really no secret.
This is
'cause
the
it's only two of
intellectual
us.
plot on
You
both
gotta
the
go
other
out and
side.
get something in the studio and rap it real quick.
Right, right.
This is to keep her off my case with all this feminine energy in here. This estrogen in the building. I figure she go easy on me now.
I will.
Whatever. Like I believe that. So go on and kick us off. Where we starting out?
2017. We're doing a complete and total recap. So, do you know some? I know I have a lot of great things that I thought. Well, maybe not great. When I did the research, it turns out that 2017 has been a very bad year, politically wise and news wise. Socially, it seems like it's been a very trying year, one of those type of things. And I summed it up to be, 17, 1 plus 7 is 8. And in universal mathematics, the number for 8 is build and destroy. In order to make way for new things, you have to destroy something old. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order to build a house, you have to destroy a tree. In order to make glass, you have to destroy sand. So something has to be destroyed in order for something great to come out of it. And so that's how I look at 2017 as one of those type of pillars where, we going through a lot of things to make something great happen. As you know, we just went through a procession. And that procession means that we're going into what they call the age of Aquarius. That's been happening over the last few years. And so hopefully 2018 will be better for us. So I can highlight some things that happen, and I'm sure Live Life in the Purple, our guests, have some great things that also happened in 2017, right? Y'all got something for us? Please say yes.
We're gonna get through it.
If I'm just jumping off my head here, but it seems to me like this year was the year. As bad as it was, this was more of a year of the woman, I would say.
And you know what? That's what M. Love was talking about too. She really focused a lot when we were going, and we just talked about the show and what's taking place. She made mention of the fact that it was a very pivotal year for women, black women in particular.
For me, this was the year I got into radio.
Really?
This was the year, yeah. Was it? It was. I think it was probably February, April, something like that. Yeah, I came on as a guest first, and it was, just giving me that opportunity, vibing together, being in that same space. Mm-hmm. We found out that we occupied it together well, and she created an opportunity for me that it's just turning into something bigger and better, So that, at least that's for me, my personal experience. But connecting with black women, it's like we stay winning when we stay connected.
You know what? I agree with you. I really do. For 2017, for me, inside of Build and Destroy, this is also my 33rd year. Mm-hmm. So my birthday is in January, so I tend to look at every year like my very own new year. Mm. So my new year starts off in January at my birthday, not necessarily January the 1st, right? So when my birthday comes, this is my 33rd year, and 33 is a very powerful number. In numerology and religion, anywhere else you look, it's a certain type of growth that goes along with the number 33. And so for this year, I was able to tap into a more spiritual side of myself than I have before. I've always been a spiritual person. I've always tried to ignore it because my focus here is to have a human experience, and I want to be able to embrace that. And I think sometimes being too spiritual, it interferes with my human experience, right? But when we come here, we come with a responsibility, we come with a blueprint, we come with shit we got to do. And sometimes you have to grow up. And in ancient times, a man was a child until he reached the age of 40. A man stayed inside of a university until the age of 40. So a lot of times when we think it's too late, it's not really too late. We have a long way to go. And so for me, this year at the age of 33 was really about securing what I found. Like, my whole life has been a journey. I've always focused on finding myself and all of those things. I know who I am. I know what my purpose is. And then there's like a little piece in between knowing and doing. It's like an in-between space. That's what 2017 was for me. It was that in-between space. And it's the space that we see things for what they really are. And then you can understand what that purpose is. You can know your purpose and not truly embrace what it is. Yeah. You can know who you are and still not truly embrace it. Because when you still give a fuck about what somebody thinks, you have not quite embraced who and what you are. And when you can graduate from that space, it says a lot about a woman. Like I've always said that about women who cut their hair. For a woman, her hair is her glory. We keep it. We need it to be long. That's a symbol of womanhood, blah, 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 blah. And then a woman cuts her hair, and it's like, boom, powerhouse. All woman, because now you have to be confident in everything else but that one thing that we use to symbolize beauty. You understand? And so that's a very powerful space for a woman. That's what that was like from a spiritual perspective for me this year. It was like spiritually cutting my hair.
Wow, and that's interesting because as like I know the Rastafarians and some believe that hair is like antenna. Mm-hmm. And it, gives you a higher connection.
It does.
Right into that third eye. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree with that. I had long hair. It's crazy. And it's been a number of years that I haven't had it, but I had to find my femininity.
Right.
Because I identified with long hair, and you were right. Stepping out of that now, you've got to find your power source somewhere else. And you've got to own your femininity. Femininity for me for 2017 is understanding that feminism is not walking with a sway. It's not that. That's just female. That's given to you, at birth. Those are qualities in you. But are you still feminine? Yeah, it encompasses so much more, and I'm growing into it. And even without the long hair, I could not leave the house without earrings on, without lipstick on or whatever with the short hair, Now, I did my show today and forgot I didn't have lipstick on.
Right.
I don't remember when I looked at our guest, she was so beautifully made up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have lipstick. You know what, I'm going to rock this without it.
And you did.
And that has become that.
And you did.
Yeah. Right. It's in here. The key is in here. So 2017 for me has been about getting quiet in the chaos, quiet in the mess, quiet in the voices, quiet in everybody else, and going in here, inside here, and going levels deep, and just dealing with each wall as I come up to it, and open up, and still finding that at core, you are who you are, and just having fun with that. Right. It has been truly, truly empowering and freeing. So, yeah. Like I said, 2018, I'm coming for your throat. With a K. With that jugular beat, we coming for right here.
Right.
2018, here we come.
That's what I said. That's the year of the 9. 18. 1 plus 8, 9. I said I'm coming for it this year. Like I really, it was a great year. It was a great year. So, what are some great things that happened in 2018? We had our
Some of the great, and like I said, it's mainly focused around women.
And that's
we had the Women's March, the Million Women's March that was in January, the beginning of the year, and that drew 3 to 4 million people. About as big as the Man's March, or bigger than an inauguration has been, definitely for Trump. So, which is one of the bad things, by the way, one of the top bad things of the year. Yeah, we lost our first lady and first president, our president. Yeah.
I think there was some good in that. I think there was some good in that because I felt like as long as they were the beacons up there, people felt like, you know what, Michelle, that's, I'm good because she's there. No, she's not there. You're good because you're here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you had to stand up now on your own and said, we are still viable. We're still important. We're still a beacon. I was looking at Nielsen ratings. Now, the Nielsen ratings is the top. They decide everything because collect all the data about what you're watching, what you're buying, and stuff like that. And they talked about Black Girl Magic. It's trending. That hashtag became popular this year, right. Black Girl Magic. At least it reached my eyes more this year. And so they said that, Nielsen said that, actually, Essence Magazine said that Black Girl Magic is a term to illustrate the universal awesomeness of Black women. And it started out just as a social media hashtag, but it's become so much more. It's become the intersection, it says, of a Black woman's unique place of power at the intersection of culture, commerce, and consciousness. Right. And we don't need a beacon for that. It has been placed on everybody.
Right. Well, I think it's always been that way, and this year it got its recognition. Again, like I said, from a build and destroy perspective, like how many of us have had to be destroyed, how many women, Black women in particular, have had to go through so many things to get to this point. It's not just about destroying something to make good, it's also about having it built too. And I think that was good for Black women because we have always been pivotal in culture, in history, in culture, in fashion, in everything, in retail. We are those, like you said, we are those pillars. We are who it is. You are talking about the most divine creation. Everything comes out of darkness. All light comes out of darkness, and everything comes from a feminine energy. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your perspective is. I don't care what the oldest dating fossil on this planet of a Homo sapien or a Homo sapien sapien belongs to a female. You understand? That is a divine energy. Every male has ovaries that fall out to become testicles. They have a clitoris that extends to become a penis. And then they have nipples without mammary glands that used to be breasts. So you come from a feminine energy. You understand what I'm saying?
And some of us still have sensitivity in those.
Exactly. Oh, really?
You heard what Tiffany Haddish said about that. So that's why some of y'all men act like bitches, because you just...
your shit just fell out.
Yeah, it just fell out, right.
But don't ever get it twisted. We are the divine. You know, we are the epicenter of this whole planet. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I know they want to put a lot of emphasis on feminism and, oh, no, you can't do this. This is the feminine. No. That's not to negate the black man, but you are here as my protector. That's it. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And so for us to be able to step into that light and other people start to embrace it and we begin to remove our self-doubt about being the highest specimen on the planet. We had self-doubt about that. For hundreds and hundreds of years. Self-doubt about being a black woman, about being too fat, not being good enough, not being smart enough, not being strong enough. And to be able to move into that shit this year and to see the fruits of our labor, to see Viola Davis do her thing, yes. to see this woman do her thing, to see Meghan Markle, you can say whatever you want to say, but to see these black women be able to come inside of a square that's been our fucking square since day one. That everybody else wanted real estate. It's just like playing on a chessboard. Mm-hmm. And I was explaining chess the other day. It's about real estate. It's about who owns that square. And us not being able to step onto that square and advance because everybody else had real estate in a square that belonged to us. Mm-hmm. And so in 2017, women got to step into that square. That's big shit. You understand? That's big shit. So I salute.
And also we're taking control of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, using it more. It is just that a tool. And more black women are understanding that it's not just about a place to seek dates. You know, that's what be seen. No, we're using technology to start businesses, to harness the power of the internet, to connect with women across the globe, and find out that there are women all over this world waiting for you, waiting to do business. Right. They feel like you feel. They're like, we've been separated by all of this, and now you're here. Right. And we are a click away.
I received some news today. I was on a conference call this morning with John Wayne, who is like a federal government contracting guru. And my ex-husband / business partner / best friend, that's my homie, he set up the meeting, and we sat down and we talked to this guy, and he put all my business information in, and he was like, once he pulled up my business address and information, I learned that I have the only woman-owned, black-owned company in that area of Georgia. You know how motivational that shit was to me? I was like, what?
The only. I
don't have no competition. And he was very willing to work with me because there is no competition in my region. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm slipping. I ain't doing something right. Because sometimes it's like the power of knowing. But I was saying it about women in business and being able to use technology and step out and having those advancements and having these opportunities that we didn't even know were out there, because I had no idea. And now, knowing what I learned today, it gave me a whole new perspective on how I will do business moving from that moment on. So from this morning to forevermore, I will conduct myself a lot differently, knowing what I know now about where I stand. You know what I'm saying? So that's something else that's pivotal. That's on a small scale, but that's major things happening.
But I think this is a good year also for business for some reason. Mm-hmm. Like, I see so many businesses popped up this year. So many people stepped out there and made some things happen.
Yes.
A lot of them women. Mm-hmm. Not just women, but just business in general has just been booming this year, or at least stepping off the ground, coming off the ground. So even All in Love, she's made some big steps this year. She stepped in front of the mic, came from behind the mic.
Yes.
Got out on the scene. I mean,
we were talking about that today on the show, and I said in the Love Speaks that the brand that I conceived of about 4 years ago, Purple Door Creations, now exists and lives and has 4 members, and 2 of them are in other countries right now. Taking our brand out there and performing and doing things, and our signs are up in stores and stuff, and that is big. That is huge. That is huge. So my goal this year is to continue what I've been doing, which is encouraging everybody to work together. If you wake up with an idea in your head, write it down, implement it.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't worry about failing. Don't worry about anything. Just do it. Just do it.
Right.
Exactly. So we're finna take a quick break, and we're gonna jump back on this topic right here on Word of Mind. Stay tuned.
That little bitch, you can fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the store, I can get them both, I don't wanna choose. And I'm quick, cut a nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money move. Say I don't gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch, I make bloody moves. Now she say she gon' do what or who? Let's find out and see. Cardi B, you know where I'm at, you know where I be. You in the club just to party, I'm there, I get paid a fee. I be in and out them banks so much, I know they tired of me. Honestly, don't give a fuck about who in front of me. Drop 2 mixtapes in 6 months. What bitch working as hard as me? I don't bother with these hoes. Don't let these hoes bother me. They see pictures, they say goals. Bitch, I'm who they tryna be. Look, I might just chill in some babe. I might just chill with your boo. I might just spill on your babe. My pussy feel like a lake. He wanna swim with his face. I'm like, okay. I let him get what he want. He buy me East Saint Laurent and the new whip. When it go fast as a horse, I got the trunk in the front. I'm the hottest in the street. Know you probably heard of me. Got a bag and fix my teeth. Hope you hoes know it ain't cheap. And I pay my mama bills. I ain't got no time to chill. Think these hoes be mad at me. They baby father wanna bill. Say little bitch, you can fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the store, I can get them both, I don't wanna choose. And I'm quick, cut a nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money moves. Say I don't gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch, I make bloody moves. If you a pussy, you get popped. You a goofy, you a op. Don't you come around my way. You can't hang around my block. And I just check my account, turns out I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. I put my hand above my hip, I bet you dip, he dip, she dip. I say, I get the money and go. This shit is hot like a stove. My pussy glitter is gold. Tell that little bitch play her role. I just a rope and no rolls. I just came up in a rave. I need to fill up the tank. No, I need to fill up the safe. I need to let all these hoes know they none of they niggas is safe. I go to dinner and steak. Only the real can relate. I used to live in the peace. Now it's the crib with the gay. Rolly got charms, the light frosted flakes. Hard to let these bitches know. Just in case these hoes forgot. I just wanna check the mail. Another check from all the stocks. That little bitch, you can fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the store, I can get them both, I don't wanna choose. And I'm quick, cut a nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money moves. Say I don't gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch, I make bloody moves. Bloody moves, bloody moves.
You know, as intellectual that I am.
All right, what she said. So, yeah, we were definitely having a nice conversation off air. To tune you in, that was Kodak Yellow. I Kodak Black. See, I'm so fed up with her copying people to throw me off. It's Bodak Yellow by Cardi B, and the reason it's called that is because she copied Kodak Black song. You know, get it, Bodak Yellow. Anyway, so that song, if you did not know, if you were on the rock, is the top song of the year. Man, forget the year. It's the top hip hop song in the world by a female artist. It's just the longest running Billboard song at #1. It beat out Lauryn Hill.
Conspiracy.
Lauryn Hill.
Yeah. I think, no, just what I was saying once before is that I think there is what happens inside of the entertainment industry is that they have to create and have a certain brand. And so that means sometimes they have to pick representatives, you know, to represent that brand. And so you could just be sitting at home on your couch and be a nobody and become somebody. Don't take it personal. It's not about you. Okay? It's about the image. You understand? That's what I always talk about, the Little Kim and Nicki Minaj beef. But like Nicki Minaj, you were just, or Little Kim, you were fulfilling a certain position. And when you got old, that position had to be filled by someone else. Don't take it personal. Nicki Minaj, you're not special. Just as soon as you get too many lumps in your thighs or your shit watered down, then you're going to be replaced with another you. It's not about you. And I think that's the same thing. I think that's what happened for Cardi B. I think she has a very honest and pure personality in some perspectives, but to have a platform that big, she is not ready for. And again, as we said off air, I think it's a misrepresentation of black women in our current state. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if you had to play that maybe in 2006, maybe black women were going through something. I don't know. But right now, today, I don't think that's a good representation of who we are. And because it is so monumental and it got so big, this is going to be etched in stone in history as something that was black. Because, like I said off air, she is black/Hispanic. So she still represents our race. She still represents our culture. And to me, as black women as a whole, that is a misrepresentation of who we are. That is the only problem I have with the song. You know, Black Girls Rock, shout out Pat Pat on the back. Good job. Proud of you for going from being a stripper to being on reality TV to being a rapper. If that's, you know, on a personal level, I get it. But no, that doesn't represent who we are. So
you know, send some kids to school. Build a school, give some money to something that is outside of yourself and bigger than you, and that will help the masses that is not connected to what gave you the money. You know what I'm saying? You got put on for whatever, like you said, but you are now in the opportunity. You have opportunity that we don't have.
Right.
Do something.
Right.
So you got your turn. Do something.
She needs to break the stereotype.
She got to break the stereotype. Now she got to be
puts out
careful.
there.
But that takes years.
Yeah.
That takes years. See, first, she's going to have to give it the program. She's going to have to be molded. You're going to see over the next year that she is not going to be the same Cardi B. All of those brash-ass Instagram posts and all, that's going to be changed. She's going to be reformed. She's going to be conformed. And she's going to be regurgitated to you as an end product or a byproduct of what the industry wants her to be. We saw the same thing happen to I've seen the same thing happen to a lot of people.
Well, I'm saying, while you got your chance, while you got your turn on the rock, do something. Jay-Z sent his nieces and nephews, whatever, to college. You got to do something under the table so that, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Jay-Z did that after he had been on for 5 and 6 years, 10 years, 15 years.
Are paying their dues. They
Right.
they
made their sacrifices.
They
done their dirty work.
They crossovers and all that other crap. And now that they're in a position where they can take that risk, now they being pro-black and putting out messages.
Right.
And
And Cardi B has a long way to go.
Yeah.
They did their work.
She has a long way to go
Yeah.
to get to that point. She's a puppet right now, and she will do exactly what she's told to do. That's her job.
You
And
wake
I
up
think
tomorrow and it won't be there.
right.
Gotcha.
You know, so
But that's why I love what we do, this platform. For the first time in history, we talked about, we don't have to have long hair to be media personalities. We don't have to. We can do it like this. You know what I'm saying? And in time, you can get some volume on your voice. And I love what we do. I love anything indie. I love anything that is just the rogue, the new, you know, uncultured, because we have a chance to blaze in a different way, you know, right now.
right. What are some other things that took place in 2017? Like, what are some other highlights?
Politics, black women in politics. There are more black women mayors now. than ever before.
This last election with Keisha Lance Bottoms was huge. It was huge. And the way they had people out there canvassing county to county, I mean, it was amazing to see how this election played out. But some of us are already a little bit disappointed at her first piece of agenda. So it's a
What was
win.
her first piece of agenda?
Well, the first thing on the slate was to strengthen the Atlanta City Police Force.
Oh, see, so let me talk about this for a minute. I'm going to be very brief because I want to highlight some other things that also happened in 2017. But I think this year, and I'm not going to say it wasn't on purpose because I think it's all a part of a bigger agenda, that race was a very big deal this year.
Very big.
Everything came down to black and white in a way that I have not seen in my 33 years. I don't know, maybe this shit happened in the 60s, 70s, but in my time being alive, I think this year had the most racial tension that I've ever witnessed.
Right.
And where did it go? Where did the police shootings go?
Oh, it's still happening.
I know it's still happening, but
it's not getting
the
it's not
has encompassed it with
exactly. They've never or ever gone anywhere. They've been there. Last week I talked about the police brutality in Watts, L.A., all the way up to the Rodney King. We can go all the way down the line of the amount of police brutality occurrences that we've had over the course since lynching. Hell. You understand what I'm saying? Since bounty hunters, it's not ever stopped. It's just the awareness was turned there. But I think it was there to set up a certain type of tone. It was there to set a tone. Because the more you see black people being murdered on TV, the less sensitive you will be to it. One day you're going to come on your TV and it's going to be like, okay, next. What's next? What's next? And now it doesn't have the same effect that Trayvon Martin had when people were outraged. You see it enough, it becomes common.
Also, the ratings start to drop. People get tired. People can't watch that anymore.
Right.
People hit to a certain point where they just don't want to watch the news.
Right, exactly. So you have that. We had that this year. We had the Charlotte riots. We had this big uprising of neo-Nazis and the alt-right. All those people came out, and they did that under the with Donald Trump, with him being the new president. That allowed a lot of people to come out of nowhere. So it was a lot of racial tension. And so I was a little bit dismayed that the mayoral election came down to a black and white issue. And I see all these people, keep Atlanta black, keep Atlanta black, keep Atlanta black. Yeah, where was all that shit when we needed that black bank down there? We needed everybody to go set up an account at Citizens Trust. Wasn't no black people running to do that. You understand what I'm saying? We had few people to go. We had people to vote for President Obama, don't get me wrong. But I have worked in voting polls for the last 10 years. Let me tell you something. People were not showing out. But we had this whole campaign to keep Atlanta black. But from the inside of the city is a whole nother perspective. And so when you say that her first mission or her first order of business was to refortify the police force that they had already pushed up to 2,000 when Shirley Franklin was there, so you still have the same agenda as the mayor before us, so you still got somebody's hand up your ass too. So let's not ever get it twisted. Yes, Atlanta is black, but we have to think about the cabinet and the agenda and what that means for the people that work for the city and the people that live in the city. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot bigger than that. A lot of these people that were campaigning, IETI, nigga, you don't even live in Atlanta. Let's be clear. You could not vote because you live in Stockbridge. You understand what I'm saying? Killer Mike, you live in College Park, but everybody out here campaigning, let's keep Atlanta black, but the city needs to be audited because the pension is in disarray and the general fund is all out of whack. You understand? And I think that to make it about race was very blind-sided. I am all for Atlanta being black, don't get me wrong. I love it. But when you talking politics and people that pay taxes, we have to be bigger than that. And we got to see shit bigger than that. And if we don't, we are going to keep following inside of these mistakes. And then you're going to look up and wonder why you got this sorry-ass mayor that you voted in there trying to stay black. You understand what I'm saying? Like, come on.
You think they don't know that?
Come on. Like, do your research. Yeah.
That was the plan.
Like, do the research.
Same way that Trump won.
Yeah.
Right.
And look, to rebuttal against Obama.
Exactly.
So
that's kind of how I felt about that. Yeah, Black Girls Rock. I get it. I'm happy Atlanta got a mayor named Keisha. No, but at the same token,
Keisha?
right? At the same token, I just think that when we're trying to move forward in a certain direction, we have to get out of small scopes. And black and white is a very small scope when the human race is at risk. That's all I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? Black and white is good on a low level. But when you're trying to save the human race, that shit is minute. It's very minute. And we have to start to see past that. You know, so that's my thing on the whole. I was trying to figure out some things to talk about today, and I knew that Trump would come up. I knew that we would talk about him and his presidency, and I just went back and I was looking at a lot of things that took place in him being elected, including Vladimir Putin, who happens to be, I don't want to say one of my favorite politicians, but it's one that I actually keep up with. That is, he was the Russian prime minister, now the Russian president, and he is very, very smart, very, very intellectual, and he goes outside of the norms that America like to hold people in. America like to give you boundaries, and he always pushes those boundaries. And I always talk about who Donald Trump is and what he represents, what team he is on, and he is on a team that is so big you cannot imagine. I always talk about the tall whites or the Aldebarans who are extraterrestrials. You don't have to take my advice for it, but we know who Vladimir Putin play pool with. We know who he gets down with, and he's very open about extraterrestrials and his participation with them. So I was not surprised to know that Vladimir Putin also had temperament. They tampered with the Russian interference with social media during the election via Google, Facebook, and Twitter, which kind of influenced and swayed the election. And so we do know that Russia and what's his name? Trump are in bed together, and I thought that was very interesting. And I also looked up a few laws that he passed, which included the tax reform that give people tax breaks. So I don't know if we ever talked about the New World Order, but we do know that there will be one form of currency. I will talk about Bitcoins in the second half of the show. We do know that there's a New World Order, and they're trying to get to one form of currency. It's going to be you're either rich or poor, and that's a lot of the things that Donald Trump is implementing, where either you got money or you don't. Ain't no in between anymore. So he's getting rid of a lot of things that Obama worked hard for the working class. Well, with Trump, who's already rich, he don't give a damn if gas prices go up, so he could set some shit off with North Korea because he's not in the same boat with you. He doesn't have the same sentiment as we have with certain things as working class people or poor people. He is a wealthy man. He has been a wealthy man, and he makes very, very wealthy movements. So he did a tax reform, the Obamacare regulations, where he took a lot of those laws off the books. You don't have to have health care if you don't want it. You know, he's not making people do that. And he also implemented, we had a 101 deficit of judges and judicial offices, which he has filled over 70 of those. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but...
No, it's not. We had a deficit because they blocked all the previous nominations. That's why.
Right. He also passed Bill 13769, which is the immigration ban that prevent Islamic countries, citizens of Islamic countries from coming to the United States for 3 or more months. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Those were some laws that were implemented. What you think?
I have to give the credit where it's due. I mean, anything good that can come out of it, out of the situation, I mean, it's bound. It can't be all bad. You know, I mean, Obama, like, we love him. I mean, he wasn't a bad president. You know, a lot of people rag on him. You know, sometimes if you just a fan of him because he was black
and cool.
Yeah, and cool as hell. I mean, I'm a fan of him because he's cool as hell. You know, actually, Michelle was actually more of the power figure than Obama was.
I felt a lot of times it looked like she was having to work to keep down. It's almost like if you're the boss, if you're the CEO, and you're trying to hide that you're the CEO and among your staff, how you have to play it down a lot. That's how I felt about her. She was obviously a huge person, much huger than she was allowed to show who she was.
I would have to, in my opinion, and I wasn't alive that long to tell about everybody, but just from history, she was the best, maybe second best, first to second best first lady.
Who's the first? Jane Kennedy? That's who you gonna say?
Is
that what you were gonna say?
No.
Cool. I'm very interested.
I mean, second. I have to say first, but second would be.
It's too much. It's too much.
That's not Jane. Not Jane. What's her name?
Hillary Clinton.
Heck, no, she would be third.
Eleanor Roosevelt. Please tell me who was better than Michelle.
It was Kennedy. Jacqueline Kennedy would be considered second. And that's just this is based on actions.
I'm going to tell you that
because she used her influence to do a lot of things.
Who? Jackie Kennedy?
Yes. While she was there that short time.
I don't think so. Jackie Kennedy only became important after Kennedy was assassinated.
But she still.
I will say hands down.
Yeah, she did. She used a lot of her influence, didn't she? Yeah, with soldiers in the military, black soldiers in the military. There was lots of things. I think it's because she was using her position to favor racial injustice, to right some of those types of things.
I can't speak. I'm not big on politics, but I can say. And the signs of the times are important too, because we have social media, we have the news, and things like that are highlighted a lot more now than they were then. Yeah. But when I say that someone who epitomized a first lady, like she really took a handle on being, you know what I'm saying? Like she was so cool. It put another element on the White House.
Yes.
And it took.
It made it a true position.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them just there. We had social media and all that with Bush and now. And what's her name? Laura? Is that what her name was?
Laura Bush.
She didn't do nothing.
She made black women look beautiful in a whole nother way. Just, celebrated that intelligence and that beauty and that regalness. Yeah. All of it.
And I think that's a good campaign for a black woman. You know what I'm saying? I think that's good for black women to say, okay, we had a representation in this position. We had representation for us at this level. That's what it was, that's what I could appreciate, about her. But I don't think that personally that President Obama being in office was any different than Bush being in office, was any different than Trump being in office. I think they're all puppets. I think they all have an agenda.
Not. Some puppets are played better.
That's right.
Because Bush was an idiot.
Well,
he was. He was.
I think we have a real example of that right now.
That too.
But the one thing though about President Obama, and I continue to say this, is I got to be clear. I don't like being in the position of either vote, Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal, because I'm not in one of those spaces at all. But he put forth legislation that would end mass incarceration. And that right there, that's the one thing that still makes me really sad.
Who?
President Obama. Private prison ending, when they signed that legislation to end private prisons, that would be the main impetus to kill mass incarceration, because the state, they're making millions of dollars. That industry is from the phones and the video visitation all the way up and down. So,
$7 for an email?
It's crazy. It's crazy how much they... but so in that regard, and that right there, ending mass incarceration, you can't, to me, that's freedom for black people on a whole nother level. You can't get nothing but
He did that, and he also passed a bill that gave Monsanto the power to control everything that you eat. So everything that you eat that grows is now fake, and you can't grow your own food because the seeds from the food you eat are not heirlooms, and you can't put them in the ground and grow your own food. That was a strike against us. That was a major strike against us. He also had Omar Gaddafi assassinated, which is why Libya even was able to trade slaves, because the most pivotal person who was going to change the system of currency in Africa and other countries around the world was assassinated. Okay. So I'm not justifying it. I'm not calling him out on his shit, but what I'm saying is every president has an agenda and they have to do what they're told. Obama is not any more different than Trump. He just looked better doing it. That's it.
With that. Now, I agree with
He just looked better doing it.
But we have to... I know there's all of this stuff about Obama's mistake in Libya, but I'm going to tell you, slavery and in the Middle East amongst Africans, that hasn't stopped. There have been, if you've kept track of BBC or BBC Africa, then you'll see over the years reporters have been going on there saying that there are slave conditions that these people are in, and that's been going on for years. So this slavery thing didn't start with Obama, but I agree with you because drones are still being dropped and all of these other things. All of that's still happening in Middle East, and I think a lot of us tend to forget that a lot of those countries that identify Middle East, it's in Africa. It's sitting on the continent of Africa. So it's still black people. So when you hear some of these places, folks getting bombed, it's us that the whole village is destroyed. It's people that look like us, and that still happened under Obama's administration. So that I can acknowledge in that regard. But there are still certain things to me that ending that bill, that's significant because we already know how many people, black and brown, are sitting in jail that don't need to be there right now.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So, what else happened? 2017, the eclipse. That was major.
That was major.
That was major.
That was August 21st, 2017. We had a total solar eclipse. We're going to have another one in 7 years, April 8th. That's going to go across the other way. So we had one to stretch from the Wyoming, the northwest of the planet, or I'm sorry, the southeast of the planet up to northwest, and we're going to have another one that's going to come southwest of the country, up to northeast. It's going to be an X that's going, the eclipse is going to put a pattern on the United States, which is very symbolic to some people on so many levels. In history, a total solar eclipse meant that a lot of disasters were coming, stuff like that. And so since we've had our solar eclipse in August, we've had a countless number of mass shootings to take place in the United States, including the one in Las Vegas. We had the Charlotte riots. When did that take place?
That took place before.
Before?
I think. No,
it did not.
Rise was after.
Yeah, that was after. We had the Hurricane Maria in Dominican Republic. We had the 7.1 magnitude earthquake in Mexico. It was a lot of natural disasters. We had Bangladesh with the monsoon. We had Hurricane Irma. There was a landslide in Sierra Leone after this.
Yeah.
Hurricane Harvey, flooding in China. We had the landslide in Republic of Congo. There were a lot of natural disasters to take place, which is predicted when a solar eclipse takes place. It is a sign of disaster, but something new coming in, which to me seemed very important, seeing as though it came at the time where the Age of Aquarius was coming in. The Age of Aquarius, I'll talk more about that later on, I guess, sometimes in the inside, but I did want to touch on those things that happened. We had 307 total mass shootings as of like November the 30th.
Wow.
307 in the United States.
Wow.
So
astronomically though, this was a unique year period, right? Like astronomically speaking, it was a lot of Mercury went in retrograde 4 times this year as opposed to 3. So about the revolution around Mercury's in retrograde right now. It just went out the other day, I think. But Mercury retrogrades about 3 times a year because the cycle around the Earth is like 89 days. Around the sun. Not bad, but not good.
Right? Doesn't it have? Can you talk a little bit about that?
A Mercury retrograde?
Yeah.
I will on the inside. We're going to get there in like 2 minutes. Okay. I'll talk about Mercury retrograde because we just came out of one. What else did we do? What else happened? The White House is. What were we talking about? Oh, the disasters.
Yes.
Natural disasters. I'm jumping all over the place. Right. Yeah, so those solar eclipses and natural disasters took place. It seems that 2017 was
2017 2017 sucks and they can get the hell on.
Yeah,
That's all I got to say.
but it was a good foundation year. You know how sometimes you'll have a good show that comes on, and the first year be good, the second year be good, and like the third season is just like an informational season. They got to go back and give you all this background information to prepare you for the fourth season where they rewrite the storyline. That's what 2017 was. It's like a real transitional phase of weaning out the bad, sort of like a purging that we're going to see coming. Within the age of Aquarius, more people are going to go with the flow. It's going to be a lot more community involvement, a lot more unity. You see the urge to go green and help people. And what about the little kid on the show that got bullied and his parent, like that thing happened, but you see where the world wanted to go towards helping people?
Oh, yeah.
We're going there. And if you are not, when the Mayans predicted the end of time, they predicted the ending of one age, of the Piscean age, into the age of Aquarius.
Yep.
Right? That's what the end of time was about. It wasn't the end of time literally, because time is relative and therefore does not exist, honestly speaking and actually speaking. But it came to end of one age into the end of another. And in that end, a lot of people won't be able to withstand the atmospheric change. They won't be able to stand the emotional and social change. They won't be able to withstand the spiritual change. If you look at NASA anytime in 2017, you can know that Vladimir Putin's press on the United States to tell the world about extraterrestrial has came to fruition, because NASA had a press conference where they even announced the fact that, oh yeah, we see some shit flying out here that just, it defies all the laws of gravity, all our aerospace technology. It's something out there that, we've been seeing for the last 40 years, but we're just now willing to share it with you.
Like the last thing.
Right. Why? Because in a minute they won't be able to hide it.
Exactly.
So they have to prepare you for it. You understand what I'm saying? So all of that stuff is all systematic in us coming to the age of Aquarius, where you have ancestors and precessors that are trying to get inside of this plane and this atmosphere to tell you what time it is. That way, if you are all caught up in racial wars and low-level bullshit, you can't see where the human race is trying to go. You're going to be so blinded with worried about Black Lives Matter and black girls rock and white supremacy that you're going to miss that we are going inside of a platform that is going to be so elevated that some people will die. Some people have to die because the planet has to purge itself of what we call bottom feeders. You understand what I'm saying? And there's a misconception when it gets to a certain type of people, i.e. the blonde-haired, blue-eyed people who allowed their prince to marry Meghan Markle, to say that they are all savages. Now they can't say that anymore because now it's not true. So in order for them to survive, they have to blend in, but they're not going to blend in with bottom dwellers, because if there are no black people on the planet flies into the sun. You need that melanin, you need that iron, you need that grounding, but you also have to look at it from an elevated perspective. That's why we are. This planet will purge. So 2017 was the year that set that shit off, period. That's what it was.
How do you do this every week? That is
the start of the end. That is the intro to the inside, right?
Right. We're going to take a music break. I will come back with the inside. Stay tuned. IBNX, Word of Mind Radio.
What she said.
I gotta let
I promise, I swear, I swear. Yeah, young Metro, I don't trust you. I'm gonna shoot you. Yo. Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, represent, gotta represent, chase a chick, never chase a bitch, mask on, fucking mask on, mask on, fucking mask on, Percocet, Miley Percocet, chase a chick, never chase a bitch, 2 cups, toast up with the game, from full steps to a whole nother domain. Out the bottom, I'm a living proof. Ain't compromising, $500,000 on the coupe. Drug houses, looking like Peru. Graduated, I was overdue. Pink money, I can better move. Ask about me, I'm gon' bust a move. Red James, 33 chains. On Chanel, cruising Biscayne. Tide pump, that's a liability. Hit the gas, boosting my adrenaline. Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, represent, gotta represent. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Mask on, 4-door Maybach. I drive anything. Buy my range, make them go insane. DJ Eskimo City.
I got a halo. I level up every time I say so. Shoot on payroll. Looking like Pancho, looking like Pedro. Straight from cousin. 10 dividend go grow when I say grow. Kung Fu Kenny with the mic dog. Ain't no penny that I don't touch. Y'all my enemy bite on dust. Ain't no talking when it's fatal. Having hard, I can't tell. Half of y'all might need help. I might fall in Rodale, bitch. I might ball in that strip. I might call her for real. All I ask go unveil. Windows in the windows and the smack in with a big block. She got me like info. No who it's info. Platinum. Gotta look at self and ask what happened. How y'all let a conscious nigga go commercial while only making conscious albums? How y'all let the raids on TV? How y'all let the hood at the table? Now y'all don't even know how to rate them. Niggas looking like I'm a creative player. Everybody who didn't pay respect, gotta fess up now and pay your debt. Gotta lay something down and make a threat. Gotta say something now, don't hold your breath. How you mean I ain't floating? I got the salt, got the potion. I got them all like emotions and emotions. I put red in the Goshen's. I put the body in the ocean. I made an oath to win. My nigga told me to go in. Then he died on a cold bench. All my old friends living life on a slow end. Gotta keep shit rolling. It's deep. I done fuck so much I can't sleep. I done fuck so much I'm retired. I'm about to live my life through day free. She said she broke down when Prince died. Bitch, my hair down, Prince lived through day. Get your ass up and be inspired. You know how many bodies in the street. Take the mask off so you can sing.
Percocet, Miley Percocet, big fun. Percocet, Miley Percocet, big fun. Represent, gotta represent. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Mask on, fuck your mask on. Mask on, fuck your mask on. Percocet, Miley Percocet, big fun. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch. Mask on, fuck your mask on. Mask on, fuck your mask on. Mask on, fuck your mask on. Cash go, never lie on.
IBNXradio.com. The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Hey, what's up? It's Jay-Z.
Hey, I'm Mariah Carey.
Hey, it's Katy Perry.
It's your boy T.I.P., man. Get it. It's your boy Sean Kingston.
What's up, y'all? I'm Beyonce.
This is Nicki Minaj, and I'm in the mix with
IBNX Radio.
Yeah, it's a lot of things I'm over these days, man. I'm over everything sounding the same on the radio and all these unjust killings, man. It's just crazy. You gotta stop. Yeah, it's Keith Turner and Out of Reach. Listen, I'm over being overlooked for the overrated. Over being discriminated cause I'm melanated. Over the industry for being oversaturated with rappers who have no respect for pioneers who made it possible to even do this in and cash out. Y'all get a gimmick, collect the money and y'all lash out. I'm over reminiscing about the days when women got recognition without tapping their ass out. I'm over the over-sexualized visuals, the dark verse light skin, colorism is pitiful. I'm over the overly spiritual pastors robbing the sheep, got them giving up money for a miracle. Over being underpaid at a job with no room to grow, and not having enough dough to run my own show. I'm over shut doors, so I'ma take the keys like my name was Swizz and get it overseas and get cheese. And for that I would not conform and dumb it down just because it's your new norm. I'm sticking to my guns, blasting my sound, and pitching to like a circus cause I'm over these clowns. You know who you're dealing with. Keep Turner, he is the dunamis. Nothing lay down my crown. Y'all better be afraid. You know who you're dealing with. Keep Turner. Y'all better be afraid. Overly medicated, this generation's sedated. Zandy raps over play y'all, let's terminate it. You think I overstated? Have I said it enough? Not even close when your fam's in comas over the stuff. You think I'm overly tough? I'm just getting my games. Imagine how much I press it when I'm feeling no strings. You think I'm steroid popping, how I'm pushing the train. Without it now being broken, yes, King overcame the politics and not being treated the same. I'm over the bullshit, so I'm making my own lane. Where there's no limit, and I can bolt like thunder with a lot over my head, but trust it won't take me under. Beast what I've been through. Stay consistent, cooler than an igloo. Didn't do it for ice or a red bottom shoe. Stay true to the art, now my time's come. It's overdue. You know who you're dealing with. It keeps turning. We with the unit. Nothing lay down my crown. Y'all better be afraid. You know who you're dealing with. Keep turning. Y'all better be afraid.
Welcome to the inside with 9 Ether, your underground source for the gym start tactics, and the jewels of the week. Visitors beware, for once you enter, you may never view the world the same again. Your access has been granted.
All right, we are on. You are in with the inside. Yours truly, 9 Ether. So, as a special request, I am going to talk about Mercury retrograde. I'm also going to go over our aura color for today, and I will do that really quickly. We've been talking about auras and their colors. I think last week I did red. We talked about the red aura color, which is good for courage and leadership. Also represents anger. Today we're going to do yellow, which is about liveliness, intelligence, communication, and a lot of teachers tend to have a more yellow aura. It's about community. The yellow aura is very analytical and logical, intelligent, hard workers. They are happy being alone. They become stressed and depressed easily. They can become withdrawn. They're very good communicators. They inspire others. They're good observers. They have good perceptives. And they have the head above heart, where they are thinkers and not really feelers. That's a good thing about yellow auras. And they're unorthodox thinkers. They have very unusual interests. They're overly critical of themselves and others. And so, again, remember, your aura changes based off of your emotion, based off of where you are as a person. But if a person has a generally yellow aura, those are the type of people they are. So, and we are going to get down to some aura readings once I go through all of these colors. But as far as Mercury retrograde is concerned, we get about 3 of those a year. This year we had 4, okay? And we had like the black moon, where we had more than 4 moons inside of a season. So we had a lot going on astrologically this year, including the high amount of Mercury retrogrades. And so what Mercury retrograde is the fact that Mercury's revolution around the sun is about 89 days. It's 89, 90 days. And so this tends to happen more than once a year. And because Mercury is traveling faster than the Earth, when it goes past us, have you ever been driving next to a train on the freeway, and you're driving, but it looks like the train is going backwards?
Yeah.
It looks like it's going backwards because it's speeding past you. And so when Mercury is speeding past you, it looks like it is going backwards. That's why they call it Mercury retrograde, because it's going past so fast that to astrologers, it looked like it was going the other way. Astronomers, astrologers, it looked like it was going the other way, so they call it Mercury retrograde. What happens is, as the planet is speeding by, it causes a certain amount of turbulence. And so our planet shakes from that turbulence. That turbulence, because Mercury is the master of communication and travel and contracts, then when that turbulence occurs, it causes those things on this planet to malfunction. And so during a Mercury retrograde, maybe your email didn't go through, maybe somebody misunderstood your text message, maybe they didn't get your text message, maybe you broke your phone, maybe your laptop went out, mine did. You know what I'm saying? If you sign major contracts during Mercury retrograde, a lot of times those can be faulty marriages that happen during Mercury retrograde, sometimes end quickly and nasty. Homes that were bought during Mercury retrograde go into foreclosure, things like that, especially if a person is unaware. Being aware puts you in a position of power. You know, I talk about this with weed all the time. I smoke, right? Marijuana is an intention-based herb, which means if you set an intention when you use it, you can do anything. You can make it make you focus. You can use it to manifest. You can use it to meditate. You can use it to have a good sexual experience. You could use it to, you know, whatever you want to sleep at night. You can use it to help heal pain. That it has a high vibrational frequency, which can be formed in different types of ways. You understand? So that's what makes it powerful. It's the same when you go into a period like Mercury retrograde. If you are unaware, then you become a subject. You are not in control. Mercury is now in control. And then you fall subject of all the things that Mercury causes. However, if you set an intention for yourself and say, okay, during this Mercury retrograde, I'm going to focus on reestablishing myself. I'm going to focus on starting my business. Mercury retrograde is a great time for new beginnings. This Mercury retrograde, we had the last new moon of the year, which was also a very powerful super moon. And if you work magic in that moon at Mercury retrograde, then kudos to you. But that's what Mercury retrograde is. It can be bad. It depends on who and how you're looking at it. So it's a very good time for a new start, new beginnings, to start setting up for, you know, the next quarter when it's out of Mercury retrograde. But you can always do more research. They'll let you know the dates. Again, it happens every few months. We get 4 a year, so it happens like in every season. We get 3 a year. I'm sorry, this year we happen to have 4. Right. But you can Google the dates. You'll know. I don't like to give way into things like that. Like, you know, people say, well, you're a Capricorn, you're a procrastinator. I am a procrastinator. I'm a proud procrastinator because I work so well under pressure. I love it. But I'm not going to make me being a procrastinator be a bad thing for me. I'm not going to make that a crutch. I'm not going to make that an excuse. I'm going to take that and I'm going to work with it. And I use that procrastination as a power, as like a surge of energy for me to go ahead and get it done the first time out. That way I don't have time to do it over and over and over again. If I do it on time, then guess what I'm saying? That shit went right. Let me go back again. I could have did it like this. Let me go back in. But if I wait to the last minute, guess what? I got to come out the box. I got to be at my best. So I choose to use that as a good thing. So the same with Mercury retrograde. Now I'm going to stay away. Like I have a business. I did not search for any contracts during Mercury retrograde. But what did I do? I did meetings. I worked on my marketing. I worked on what am I going to do for the start of 2018. So that's what I use Mercury retrograde. Now it's ended. I think it ended the 23rd. Of December. Now it's gone. All the turbulence is waning. We had our new moon. I set my intentions so that when January 1st come around, I can fire out the box with my new intentions, with my new beginning. Not because it's a new year, but because we just came out of a new moon and we just came out of a Mercury retrograde. So I'm not really giving way to the Gregorian calendar, and I'm not going to fall victim to any astrology either. Yeah. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to be in control of how it works. And when you can do that, you can make magic. So that's Mercury retrograde.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
No problem. Inside of the jewel for today, and I never talk about this. I do it a lot, but I don't always talk about it. I wanted to discuss in my jewel, be alone. A lot of times we won't be alone. We don't spend time with ourselves. Before you commit to a guy, what do you want to do? What do you do before you commit to a man? You have to get to know him, right? You have to understand him. You want to know, what are your aspirations? What's your credit like? Where are you going to be in 5 years? What do you think about family? We'll ask somebody that before we bring them into our lives. But how many times have you stopped to ask yourself those questions? How many times have you said, okay, where do I want to be in 5 years? What are my goals? What's my purpose? What's your purpose with yourself? You always ask somebody, what are your intentions with me? A lot of us can't get with the program or move on with life because we don't even know who the fuck we are. because we haven't spent any time alone. And I don't mean alone on your phone. I don't mean alone looking at TV. I mean alone by yourself, without a crutch, without an escape, and to be inside of your head to figure out. Sometimes you figure out that I really don't like this person. This person does not love him or herself. This person is ugly to people. This person is mean. This person doesn't think highly of themselves. You'll find out a lot of shit about yourself if you sat down and took the time to be alone. And then you can say, well, this is what I want. Well, shit, this is what I want. How do I get there? This is how I get there. And then you can start figuring out what your purpose is and moving towards it. But you can't do that if you're not spending any time alone. How to concentrate on who you are and to meditate and to put that focus back into yourself, you know. And so my jewel for the end of the year before you go into 2018 is spend some time alone. I'm talking about phone off, all by yourself, focusing on who you are. That way you get to know who you are. That way you get to know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, so that when I come to the table with my shit, you can't put no value on it, because I spent so much time alone calculating this, putting this shit together, that I know who I am. I know what I am. You can't second guess me. You can't count me out. You can't underestimate me, because I'm coming with it. Why? Because I already motherfucking know. See, there's a difference between being arrogant and having absolute certainty. When you have absolute certainty, you have had to spend time alone to figure out, this is who I am. This is not who I'm pretending to be. This is not who I'm trying to convince you that I am. This is who I am, and I can stand by that 100%. So you get down and you lay down. That's what being alone means, that you can be confident in who you are as a person. So that's my jewel for the end of 2017, coming into 2018, is to spend some time alone, to figure out who you are, to figure out what you want, and to become that. Be your absolute truth. In the last few weeks, I talked about the 4 agreements. Be your absolute truth. Be who you are. And being alone will help you get to that. So that was my jewel for today. I'm going to go on to the inside. Any questions, y'all straight?
No, that was dope. And that is
Soapbox shouted.
All right. So now to wrap this segment up, I am going to talk about Bitcoins. Now, Trey Grizzy asked me a few weeks ago if you know that I have a background in finance. I'm good with numbers, pretty good, budgeting, saving, stuff like that. But who wants to talk about that? Not me. But when I first came to the show, that's what Trey Grizzy wanted to focus on. And I was like, okay, we can. I'll talk about it. Blah, 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 blah. And I've gotten off of it to more mystic things, because we talk about a lot of structure in the first half of the show. So in the second half of the show, I'm a lot more abstract than I am the first half. Today, I wanted to talk about Bitcoins. Trey asked me a week or two ago if I knew anything about Bitcoin. I was like, yeah, I heard about them. I know a little bit about them, and I really didn't know nothing about them. So, but if you're a smart person, you never admit to not knowing. I know a little bit. I get back to you. And in those 2 weeks, guess what I did? I did my fucking research. So I'm ready to talk about Bitcoins as far as what I understand. Okay, so. Let's talk about what is a Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is a form of digital currency created and maintained electronically, okay? No one is in control. So if you remember a while back, I used to talk about BRICS, and BRICS is...
white BRICS.
BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And what they were going to do is put their currency together. This is after Muammar Gaddafi wanted to put in the gold dinar, and he failed with that because he was killed. And then you had BRICS come into play in June of 2006, and they wanted to put together a form of currency. If you remember that Uganda asked the United States for money a few years back, and the United States said, sure, the Federal Reserve, we'll give you the money if you put up this gay-ass flag in your country. And a lot of countries in Africa are anti-homosexuality. They just don't push the homosexual agenda. And so Uganda said no. And the United States said, well, okay, tough luck. We'll see how you get your money. And so a lot of countries are being bullied into promoting homosexuality with the use of, that's collateral for getting loans and money for funding and things like that, research for their country. And so that happened, and so that's what BRICS was trying to get rid of. Okay, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background information. And so this guy, let me find his name because I don't know it by heart. His name is Satoshi Nakamoto. That's his name. That's not his real name. That's his pseudo name. He's a software designer that came up with Bitcoins. And so what Bitcoins is a digital money that you can trade without a central bank. So it's decentralized. So there's no one currency. So the United States isn't controlling this money. There's no one bank controlling this money. The way it works is you buy into Bitcoins. Let me slow down so I can make sure I'm giving you all the information. It was produced using algorithms, and it's called mining Bitcoin. So how do you mine a Bitcoin? The first step is mining a Bitcoin is to establish an account. Once you get an account, you have to have a computer. You get this computer, you have software and hardware in order to mine Bitcoins because you can't do it with a laptop. Okay, it's a lot more hands-on than I thought it was. I thought it was more like an investment. That's not what it is. It's a community, and you have to be a part of that community in order to make it work. So you're going to need a computer, a CPU, and you're going to need fans to keep it cool because what they're doing is using your computer's ability to program. The programming on your computer and a disk card. Let me find the name of the, it's a card. Hold on. It's called a, anyway, it's a card that you use, and you use this card. It's like a storage card, and you use it to run the information off of. So your computer is running about 10 hours a day, and what it's doing is transferring transactions. So say, for instance, you buy something with a Bitcoin. You want to send money to Trey Grizzy. You don't have to do it through PayPal, or like usually we use a central location like a bank or PayPal, and what they're going to do is charge you a fee, and they're going to keep the transactions inside of a ledger. Well, with a Bitcoin, you're going to send that money directly to Trey Grizzy, and Bitcoin miners will use those informations in blocks, and they're creating blocks of information to make sure that each transaction is recorded on a public ledger and that everyone who mines Bitcoins has access to the very same information. And as you mine these blocks, that goes into a backlog into the ledger that everyone can see. Everyone shares it. So mining computers collect Bitcoin transaction every 10 minutes, and that's called a block. And that it is like a math puzzle, and you have to solve that puzzle. And when you solve that puzzle, you make money. You make other Bitcoins, and you can cash those Bitcoins in for cash. Lots of cash, because there's no currency to define, like if it's a yen or if it's a US dollar or anything, or a euro. It's not a form of currency. It's all numbers on the screen. Does that make sense?
No.
Yes. So let me tell you why it makes sense. Let me slow down because I got amp. So you get this software, you put this software on your computer, you put the hardware on your computer, you go to something like, they have different websites. They have some called, it's this one called, they have, let me find it. I'm going to find the name of the website. I had to write these down for us because I did not know them by heart. It's peer-to-peer payment, anyway, I can't find the name of the website. I'll find it in just a minute and I'll tell you what it is. But they have these software pools, and so you get inside of a pool, and all of us in the room can be in the pool. We will solve the puzzles together. By yourself, it could take you 3 months to solve this mathematical puzzle. And the puzzles are the transactions. It's like you're auditing the information that you're getting. So if you make a transaction to her, someone has to audit to say it was stamped at this time. It's important to stamp the time so that you won't go back and double charge and say, well, I didn't get the money. So it's keeping down on fraud, and it's mining these transactions to say this was an accurate trade that she made. What PayPal is doing, what the bank is doing for you, you will now do it for yourself. That's all it is, and it's a community of people working. So it's a lot of work that's put into it.
Like a sad part-time job.
It is. And if you work in these blocks or these groups, if you get it inside of a group, then it's easier to solve these problems because now you have 5 people working on one problem, and it may take you a week as opposed to taking you a month to audit it. And when we're talking audit, we're talking about failed transactions. You have to log it. It has a background and say, okay, she transferred this account, transferred 80 Bitcoins to this account at this time on this date, and you have to figure out any flaws or any discrepancies inside of that transaction. That's what mining Bitcoins is about. That's really it.
Sounds like
sci-fi.
Yeah, only to be like a Tom Clancy novel, or you have to be a programmer of sorts.
Your computer is going to do it by yourself, so your computer is running. Your computer is like a server. So where it's a big server that this company is paying millions of dollars for, no, they're using your computer space, your computer space, your computer space, your computer space, and then you're using that space and programming capabilities of your computer for these transactions. And, yes.
So this is not something for everybody.
No, it's not. But they do have clouds where you can invest in it and then have a third party to do it for you. Yes.
So, you already know. My question is, because when my understanding, so Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. And there's a whole bunch of different cryptocurrencies coming out.
Right.
And in talking about that and the way it went up to $11,000 per Bitcoin, and you're not actually purchasing a Bitcoin. Like I spoke to someone who started out with them.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually originally have gotten the coin because you were buying a coin.
Right.
Now you're buying like a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of a coin.
Right.
Are you saying that everyone who buys into that has to actually do this mining? Because it doesn't seem like that's the case.
No, if you're a Bitcoin miner and you want to make money off of it, it's good to be a part of that block. Because the stock on it has gone up and it's so expensive, you probably can't buy one alone, so you would buy one with a group of people. So you're buying shares of it. It's almost like a share now, right? You can buy a percentage of a Bitcoin and you would let a third party manage it for you if all you want to do is make money. That doesn't make you a Bitcoin miner.
Right.
You won't be a miner at that point. You would just be an investor.
Okay, because that's what I think most people are.
Right.
They're the more on the buying the Bitcoin, waiting to make the money off of it. Most of them are not the miners.
Right.
So that's why I was like, when you was explaining it, this part I had never heard of.
That's the inside of
people kind of want to hear
the
how
investment.
It works from the other side.
Right. So in that case, you would go to a third-party administrator, and I wrote down the name. They have one called Kraken, they have one called SpectralCon, and then Coinbase. These are places where you can actually go to buy percentages, but you still have to set up a wallet because that's how you get paid. So there's still certain steps that you have to follow, but you can pay somebody to do it. And those people make a lot of money. The reason where the money comes from is the mining. So the person doing the mining is going to make the absolute most money, because once you're entering those blocks in, so you're entering all these information in. Every 10 minutes, a new block comes out. You get this block, you solve the problem. If you have 99 transactions posted to your block, and inside of that, once you solve the problem, you get 25 Bitcoins. So out of 25 Bitcoins, if I had 8 people to invest, I can give them 1 Bitcoin apiece. And you've made your money, but I just made 25 Bitcoins by mining it, because it's supposed to be a community of people verifying each other's information.
Okay, so did you get to the point of understanding if everyone who's bought Bitcoin only put in a total of $1 million? How is it that the value's going up to $11,000 turning into... Oh, so for this
fees. They're going to charge you fees for your transactions, a small fee, and then there are people who actually do the mining. So because people got it, so the guy Kimono, what was his name? Satoshi Nakamoto?
Satoshi?
Satoshi, hold on, I have him right here. He started this as more like a community. It was kind of like a utopia. He wrote this paper on how to make peer-to-peer transactions. So it was supposed to be a community designed by people for people, okay? And that's what it is, for people who are mining it. And then you have investors who are like, this is a good opportunity. They want to get in. You can get in, but it's just like a broker.
How does it turn into dollars and cents? If I put $30 in there, how do I get $20,000?
You have to cash them in. See, you can buy things with Bitcoin, so you don't have to ever cash it in. You can send somebody else Bitcoin. Companies are now getting in it on a global perspective, so you make them buy a car with Bitcoins now.
But where is the cash?
There is no.
What do you mean the cash?
When you say cash it in, where is the cash? Can I take my money out?
Yes.
If I made $20,000,
it's just like a stock.
$20,000 in cash from who?
It's like a stock, or you know how you do the what are those like shares? Yeah, penny shares and things like that.
Penny stocks.
Penny stocks. And those are used using another type of currency, another form of currency. Stocks, you buy stocks all the time. That's not money. But you buy and trade them over and over again with money on E-Trade. And then when you want to, you have a wallet. You cash it in at the coin bank, and then they'll convert your Bitcoins into cash.
And that's where I'm stuck at.
But I think you're talking about a broker, right? Is that
what I'm saying is when you get to that point where now I have $20,000 worth of Bitcoins or whatever the case may be, I want to cash that out into cash. If all of this started in a Bitcoin community with no cash, where did the cash come from?
You have to pay to actually get in. You have to buy the Bitcoins.
But with it going up from a trade perspective, where it went from being $1 to $11,000 now, so that when I bought it for $1 and I want to cash it in for $11,000, how is it that much money is actually in there at this point that if everybody cashed out, where would the cash come from?
If everybody cashed out of a Bitcoin, and I'm not really versed because I just started researching this over the last week, but I'm thinking if everyone were to cash out of a Bitcoin, then it would just be like everyone taking all of their money out of the bank. If you tried to take everybody took out the money of the bank, they wouldn't be able to get it. Your money is numbers on the screen at the bank.
So basically, at some point, everybody has to be cautious, just like stocks.
It's just like it has risk.
You got to pull out before it crashes, because the way
right,
it's
the
moving,
Bitcoin has to be recorded at a higher value as to what you bought it in order for it to make money for you. They're going up. So if you bought them at $1 and now they're $11,000, just imagine how much money those people have. So if you buy one at $11,000, that's the worth of it. I mean, the worth of the Bitcoin, but you have to pay a percentage on that. It's just like a bank. It's like interest. So when you cash it in, you won't take out the whole 11,000. You might take out 10. They're gonna keep 1,000, and that's how the people who are making money in it get the money. It's gonna come off of the fees, the administrative costs, and the interest that the Bitcoins are making. It's just like a stock market. Only it's algorithms.
Yeah, because I heard they actually have one now that is being backed by a bank. Like, there's a lot of them that's starting to pop up.
Oh, yeah, because it works a lot better than trying to centralize a currency like the euro, because the market is so fluke and it changes so much. You don't know what your dollar is worth compared to the yen or compared to the euro. Those are things that we have to consider when we make our investments. Those are things that we have to consider every time we go into the bank, because what was $1 last week in 2018 when the cost of living go up, that's not $1 anymore. Now it's probably 87 cents. You understand? So I think with the Bitcoins it's not controlled by the bank. So the level of interest and cost of living that's applied to it isn't there. And that's what the good thing about it is. Another good thing about it is you win these Bitcoins by actually mining. And if you have a broker to do it for you, he's going to make more Bitcoins. That's where the money comes from. But the Bitcoins are supported by cash. Like, you had to pay for the Bitcoin, so it has a monetary value to it. When you pay the fees, that Bitcoin also has a monetary value to it. You can, just like you can't cash out all the Bitcoins without bankrupting the system, you can't cash out your money in the bank without bankrupting the bank. If all of us all bank with Wells Fargo and we all went in there and said, okay, I got $1 million, she got $1 million, she got $1 million, we want our money, they're going to be like, oh yeah, come back tomorrow. Come back next week. We don't have it. That's what the bank is going to take. They don't have your money in the bank. They're not holding your money. They use your money. Your money is sent out for loans, and they depend on the interest of those loans coming back in to be able to pay you your money back. Well, if everybody cashed in on the bank, then the banks would go bankrupt. They would just tell you no. So the Bitcoin is safer because it's not a chief. It's not a main bank. It's not a family that's controlling it. We're controlling it together. And if you paid a broker to handle it on you, then he's controlling it for you on your behalf. So I'm going to actually continue my research on it. It was a lot. It was interesting to me learning about it, because I was thinking that it was more of an investment. No, it's more of a community, and it's very physical. It takes a lot of computers and fans and electricity, and so a person actually trading Bitcoins want to make sure that they're getting they're being a part of these blocks or groups of people that are constantly solving these problems together in order to make the money, because that's where the Bitcoins come in at. That's where the interest comes in at.
So can you spell those sites again?
Yeah. Can you talk for like 2 minutes while I find everything?
All right. Talking for 2 minutes right now just to fill the void while Nine looks up those things right there. Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and go to break. And when we come back with the upside with yours truly, we'll have her spell those out. And we'll get those on the website just in case you are interested in jumping into Bitcoin. So we'll be right back. Word of My Radio, IBNX.
Okay, yeah, I got.
What's up?
By 10:30, no later than drop them drugs, give me what I want. My man is your man, hurt is her man too. My man is your man, hurt that's her man. Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I just keep him satisfied through the weekend. You like 9 to 5. Wednesday, Thursday, then just send him my way. Think I got it covered for the weekend. I gotta say I'm in the mood for a little bit more of that. I mean, I'm saying what kind of these is 2 days. I need me at least about 4 of them, more of them, more. You on me, on us. Just tell me you want me, yeah. One day, and I'll be at your door, ready to take a place, ready to give you what you've been missing on weekdays, what you've been waiting for. 10:30, no later than drop them drawers. I know what you want. My man is your man, hurt is her man too. My man is your man, hurt that's her man. Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I just keep him satisfied through the weekend. You like 9 to 5, I'm the weekend. Make him lose his mind every weekend. You take Wednesday, Thursday, then just send him my way. Think I got it covered for the weekend.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Yes! We're still here, 2017. This is Trey Grizzy, and welcome to the Upside. I got Team Purple in the building with me, and we gonna do a quick upside today. Before we do, let's get those sites from 9 Ether.
Yes, I am going to very, very swiftly run through these notes that I have that I wrote about Bitcoins. Why is it special? Because it's decentralized. No single institution controls the network. The inventor and also software developer is Satoshi Nakamoto. He published Bitcoin for peer-to-peer payments in 2009. And it's done without the third party. Each transaction is time-stamped. The banking systems that we currently use are based on archaic medieval age processes, and this kind of just revolutionizes the processes that we currently use. A Bitcoin account is easy to set up, no fees. It allows anonymity, multiple addresses, no link. It's not linked to names or personal info. It's all numbers on a screen, which is a really good thing. Low transaction fees, immediate and fast payments, and for your currency value, there are really no risk as far as like losing money in it. The websites are www.coinbase.com to actually buy Bitcoins. That's www.coinbase.com. You have to get the software. Again, you have to join a mining pool, and it happens by running a 2-round verification process, and that's what the actual mining is. You can purchase the software on Amazon, or you can get cloud mining contracts, and that's what Trish was referring to. And if you want someone else like a broker to do it for you, then they have Hashflare Review, which is a mining broker. They also have Genius Mining Review, Hashing 24 Review, and also IBNX Review. All of those are companies that will do the Bitcoin investing for you. You also still need to join the pool of miners to help solve those blocks, and you get to share the rewards that way. And that's it. That's it. And the definition, and to buy and sell Bitcoins, you go to Kraken, SpectroCoin, and Coinbase.com is the one that I mentioned earlier. Mining computers to collect Bitcoin transactions every 10 minutes creates a block, and then you turn those into a math puzzle. You get the solution, and you get 25 Bitcoins as a reward after 99 blocks have been added to the ledger. That's how you get paid. And that's it. The profit is in making sure that the selling price or the stored trading value is greater than the cost to mine. And that's it. You have to have a CPU. You can't do it with a laptop, and you can't do it with a Mac if you are going to actually do the mining.
So when you say CPU, you mean a box, the old-fashioned box?
Yes.
Because they're like servers, so they're more powerful.
Exactly, because it has the storage and the data that it needs to actually do the mining for the Bitcoins. So that's it for Bitcoins. Y'all got questions, Word of Mind Radio. Y'all can drop me a few questions on Facebook or Instagram at Word of Mind Radio, and I will be glad to answer those. That's it for the inside of the upside.
Right. Alrighty then. So, this is, as you heard, The Weeknd. That was the top. That's the side chick anthem. That's been deemed the side chick anthem. So, this was the year of the side chick, I think. It was a lot of losses to the side chicks. You got Lala Anthony, Beyonce, Tiny. So a lot of people believe that this was the year of the side chick. We're not gonna get into a talk about if side chicks are winning. I just wanted to notice that since we're talking about the year. Also, speaking of side chicks, Cardi B, which recently we were talking about, she supposedly got cheated on by Offset. Already. Now they're saying it wasn't real. That's what she's saying. She's backing him up, saying it was fake or somebody hacked, and she more on his side. So, you know, hey, as long as she's still in there, they still winning. They all still there, I think. So, next year, this was the year of the rooster. This was my year. Supposed to be. Depends on how you look at that. I don't know. Next year is supposed to be the year of the dog. This is all Chinese
zodiac, right?
So we'll see how that goes. It's also the beginning of year of a. Is it the actual? Are we actually in year of Aquarius? I mean, age of Aquarius at this point?
There's no way to know when age of Aquarius started or ended, but it probably started. We started to transition into the age of Aquarius around the end of 2012, and so now we're full-fledged ahead inside of the age of Aquarius. Yes, we are here.
We are here. So it is also National Candy Cane Day, day after Christmas. So yeah, get your candy cane on. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. They had some lame days today.
Mm-hmm.
So, the telegram of the day is at Willa Remedy. I hope I'm reading that right. I will a remedy.
Yes, she's going to be on our show January the 9th.
Okay.
She kind of a little powerhouse, so we'll have her here. See what's up.
And the other is BDHLBSK. Have no idea what that means, but hey, they showed love, so show them some love. Am I too far? Okay. I had a situation today. See if I have time to say it. Yeah, I got a situation today. Today's situation, and since we're gonna end on a freaky note. Ooh. You know, that was my favorite kind of notes. So since we have the women in the building, we have a man and woman. They having sex. Sounds like it's some really good sex, right? Mm-hmm. So good that the neighbors hear him calling their name, like Trey Songz say. It's a lot of banging and headboard knocking and all that shit. So thing is, it's the man's house, and his neighbors don't like it. You know, obviously. So, but the woman loves it. And here's the thing. He wants to, anytime he tries to, because the neighbors complain.
Okay.
So anytime he tries to stop or put a pillow behind the headboard, anything to stop noise or go slower, she gets mad. So the problem is, what should he do in this situation? Should he go with the flow, or
maybe he should just get his neighbor's schedule and fuck with that at home. Hey, babe, you know they gonna be gone to 4 o'clock.
Is that a problem? Do you think that's a problem?
What, being loud?
No, like that she likes it.
She likes to be loud because she's
she likes the neighbors to know. She wants them to hear it.
Oh, I don't know, M. Love. What you think?
Well, it is the 21st century. Women are owning their power. She's obviously a free thinking woman.
This is true.
I mean,
women are owning their power.
Women are owning their power, and everybody's grown, right?
I guess the neighbors grown too, and they don't want to hear that mess.
Maybe it shows them up. Makes them have to work too hard.
I personally think it's just a little bit of hate up in there.
You know what I'm saying?
When you ain't getting none of that good, you don't want to hear none of that good.
You ain't gotta be that loud.
Right.
You ain't gotta calm down. Like,
no, man. Anyway.
Are you like it loud too?
What's all that scratching and groaning about?
I don't know. All I'm gonna say is I'm on the woman's side on this one. I'm not with her getting mad about it if you're trying to be considerate, but you know,
I'm a fan of the noises.
Don't let it stop. Don't stop. No monkey, don't stop no show. You know?
Right.
And please believe I ain't stopping nothing. My mama could walk in and be like, "Oh damn, mama." You know, I'm just saying.
Oh really?
Monkey don't stop no show.
Okay.
Just saying. Just go.
Ty, what you got over there in the corner?
Oh, I was over here pleading the fifth, but you know, I mean, I'm with you. You know, if it goes, you know, let it go. You know, you got to do what feels good to you. So if that means making a little sound, then that's what it is.
But you want the neighbors to hear you, though.
Now, I don't really care about the neighbors. I mean, I would be embarrassed. Okay, no, let me stop lying. I wouldn't care in the moment. Mm-hmm. I would be embarrassed after. I would be embarrassed after.
I wouldn't be embarrassed. That sounds like the neighbor been looking at her man and she got to show their bra what time it is. So let me be extra loud to let you know ain't shit popping off over here in B12.
Sometimes, I'm just saying, sometimes, you know, it's...
Because why she got to be loud like that?
I'm just saying, it just got to do what feels good to you. That's all.
Right. He says he thinks it's because she don't never be there to have to deal with the neighbors. And he have to hear the neighbor mouth. So that's why.
Wait a minute.
He's up.
Well,
let's take my candy out for a second. We got a man that don't want everybody to know he putting it down.
Hey, that's why I said I'm on her side. Mm-hmm. I'm Trey Songz in this thing. So
well, you know, Mr. Lincoln chime in just a little bit here. Obviously, they don't live in a house.
Right. No.
So if they're in a serious relationship, maybe he should just move. That's the first thing.
Right.
Okay.
Dang. You gotta move over the six.
I'm like, because at the end of the day, that's your relationship. That's your house. That's what your woman likes. You shouldn't have to have these limitations because of a neighbor. But when you're in those type of situations, unfortunately, you do have to be considerate. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And on her behalf, what I'm thinking is that's a turn on for her to know that people are listening. And that's why she most likely one another, either one or the other, it's a turn on, or like Nas said, as a woman intuition, she has an understanding about Shorty next door, and she's making it known whose own that is.
Right. She must have seen the name or something. That must be bad.
This is an actual question.
This is real. This is not me. This is not me. Disclaimer. No, this is an actual question. This is an actual conversation. Let's say that. I get a lot of my questions from conversations with people from Facebook groups, and I'm in a couple new groups that's
they popping like that.
They popping. My timeline been dead lately, but
I actually lived in a situation like that. The neighbor downstairs would make. I mean, you would have thought she was getting killed with a T on the end.
She was.
Yeah, and it was. We used to gather down. We used to gather around. Get
some sweet red wine.
Oh God! Really? Oh my God! Really? I mean, it was. It was like, really?
Oh, that would have been a jump off soundtrack. Like, baby, they finna get rid of it. We finna get this shit started. Got the wine. We just gonna listen, cut the lights down, and just let upstairs take us over.
It's been a couple times now.
Okay.
Let them jump start or something.
Hey, I was out of town in Warner Robins for about 4 months. I had a few neighbors next door in my hotel room that were getting it. I was like...
You're hustling like a mother.
Yeah, I want to hear. In fact, I want to see what this one will look like. I'm out in the hall.
You ever had that situation and then you see him and you like...
They was doing that shit all the time.
I had an upstairs neighbor doing that.
I gotta get some vitamins. I gotta start yoga or something. What I'm not doing.
I gotta get my pitch right. That shit sounded way too good. Wait a minute.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm in that sound like a whale. That shit all high pitched and pretty. Wait a minute, I'm doing something wrong. I sound like I'm grunting. This is not right.
No.
Nah, bro. Okay. All right.
Well, I ain't got no advice for that, bro. My advice is you need to go on and put a pillow behind the headboard when she not around. Set it up, pull it away from the bed, something.
My advice: sex on location.
Thank you. I was about to
walk
around.
We gonna end the house.
Well, because he got a woman that is an exhibitionist that is really free with herself. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's gonna matter. They could be down in the kitchen. Okay, they hear me.
Take her ass to the movie theater, see how loud she get then.
She'll probably get loud.
Hey.
She gonna right, don't test it.
Right. Oh, before we go, today's the first day of Kwanzaa. Umoja, y'all.
Thank you.
Unity. That's it.
And make sure you catch your after Christmas sales, which I luckily caught today.
Oh no, he's not gonna give her a gift after you talk about the
closing my eyes.
We had our Secret Santa
that I didn't know anything about, people. Yeah. No.
No names.
That is awesome! Yay!
Loves wine.
So for those of you who aren't watching, explain what it gave you.
I have a cordless and rechargeable electric wine opener. I'm a bit of a lush and a wine enthusiast. Yes. And Trey Greasy has this awesome thing at home, and I always hate on it and talk shit about it when I'm at his house because I really wanted it. And so he got me one, and I'm so excited about that.
Nice.
Thank you. Yay!
And on that note, we bid you adieu for 20,000. Good God. 2017. Adios, arrivederci, and I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to the year. Screw this year. Come on, 2018 with some good stuff, and I'm out of here. I am TR3GRIZZY.
And I am brown skinned goddess, BROWNSKINNEDGODIS on Instagram, and I will be making my comeback to Facebook.
What? In 2018?
In 2018, for our viewers, I am going to be available.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
The chosen one returns.
Yes.
And give them your Instagrams.
Rebel Queen on all my social media, Facebook, Instagram.
Social media.
Yes.
What's up? MLUVWALL on everything except Twitter. We are LLITP. And also on Instagram, Live Life in the Purple. So you got me in like 3 places. We love you. Right. Thank you so much.
And of course, make sure you follow Word of Mine at Word of Mine Radio everywhere and IBNX Radio everywhere.
Yes.
So till next time, we'll see you next year.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
We rolled that thing all the way to 8:59.
Roll that thing.
By the way.
Word of mine, I'm still with you. Trey Grizzly be your real nigga with 9 ether coming out your speakers. Goddamn, feel like still hit you. When they speak, you gotta listen. It costs nothing to pay attention. Got the other side, the inside, King Blacksmith with the outside. Every Tuesday from 7 to 9. That's word of mine. Word to the wise, words on the rise. That's word from the God. We work hard, but play harder. Get throwed after every show. Till the next time, let the best shine. IBNX, we out the door, yeah.
You're listening to IBNX. IBNXradio.com.